moving on to the next thing, a little bit more fallout from UFC 308 from 2 weeks ago. All right. Now we know, coming out of that event, we know what Dricus Du Plessis wants. We know exactly what he wants. And I'm here to tell you right now, man, Dricus Du Plessis wanting Khamzat Chimaev instead of Sean Strickland is a big mistake.
Ooh. No, I don't think that's an overreaction. I mean, I think given the way Khamzat looked, if he shows up healthy like he did in Abu Dhabi, that might be the best middleweight on earth and a very scary guy. So, yeah, I think if you're talking financially, no, it's not, because I think that's
financially, I got you. Well,
if you're the champion, Dricus, I think it sells more than Sean Strickland, honestly. I do.
Sure, but when you say financially too, think long term. We're talking about a victory keeping you champion longer. And we both, I think, are on the same wavelength here that Khamzat Chimaev shows up the way he did against Rob Whittaker, right? Like, I don't know about that being the smart call out here, dude. I mean, I respect it. I respect it. I certainly respect it, but I don't know that it's smart.
Yeah, if you can parlay, I guess, 2 paydays and get Strickland first, I'm sure he's more confident in that fight given how their first one went and the changes he can make. And I think Dricus has improved since then. But yeah, like right now, you never know what could happen with Khamzat between then. Like, you never want to push something off too late. Maybe something else happens with him, or he loses momentum via one of a million possible scenarios. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I think for the sport and the fans, that's definitely the right call to make. For Dricus on a risk factor side, yeah, it's definitely a bigger one. So yeah, I'm curious to know if they're actually going to go in that direction. I was hoping Dana White would come speak to us in Edmonton, because he said,
what's your gut tell you, though? What's your gut tell you?
What do you mean that he didn't come?
No, what's your gut tell you? Will they go in that direction?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, I guess, behind the scenes here. Like, I know originally they wanted Dricus and Sean Strickland in Australia, and I don't think the government of Australia wants Sean Strickland back there after he, had like a punch to fan or all that stuff that happened, the stuff he said on the microphone. And they're paying big money to the UFC to do these events in Australia, so they might have a little more influence, about turning
that's
someone
an issue.
Back. Yeah, right. So I don't know what they do if, like, Australia's government's pretty strict. I don't know if Khamzat could get in there either. So there's a whole, he's got his litany of issues. So they're kind of in a pickle right now. I don't know how long they're wanting to wait for South Africa, if that's in play, if they can get something like that on the table, or if they'll have to go earlier. So there's a lot of moving parts here, but they're going to have to make a decision here, like, soon. As far as what they're going to do with Dricus. But I think if they could make it happen with the snap of their fingers with no issues, I think they would go Khamzat. But you also hear and see Sean Strickland's tweets, and he seems to think he's been given a promise and their word, and Dana White is on the record saying he's next. So I don't know if you want to piss off Sean Strickland going around there that feels like he's been slighted. He might say even crazier things. So yeah, it's all kind of a mess right now. And I think, like usual, it's going to come down to timing and circumstance and all these things. But I think we'll probably find something out sooner or later than here.
You think Dana's regretting his Sean Strickland is definitely next comments after? I mean, I don't understand why he would say that, knowing that Khamzat is about to fight on a big stage with a huge opportunity for a win.
Yep. I mean, that's why he says, I don't like to make fights on the night of the fight or give these like bold declarations, say this is definitely a number one contender fight, because shit can change and overnight in one performance. And then you're like, oh, why did I do that? And usually we would be the people here being like, the UFC should be accountable for its promises to fighters and stuff like that. But you look at the talent of Khamzat Chimaev and you're like, how is that guy fighting for anything but a title next logical?
Yeah, I 100%. I agree. I agree with that part. I just don't know that Dricus calling for it is the smart move. But hey, man, I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna be interested. I just feel like with I just, like I said before on this show, I just feel like Khamzat is destined to be a champion in this division. And whether it's Sean or whether it's Dricus that he were to fight, to me, both those guys just don't really have the quickness or the footwork. Especially Sean Strickland, flat-footed. They don't have it to stop his takedowns. They just don't. I just don't see that happening, and that's why I feel like it's inevitable for him to be a champ, and which is why I feel like Dricus is making a mistake. Get that Sean Strickland fight first. You know what you're going to get from him. Then you face Khamzat Chimaev. To me, that's just the way to go. So,
Yeah.
Final word, thoughts?
No, I think that's if you're his manager, I think that's probably the exact pitch you give him and tell him what to say. But Dricus does seem like a very hard-headed individual, and he seems confident in his ability. And I think he takes it personally that everyone says he would get whooped in that fight. So he seems to take on a challenge, and far be it from me to count out Dricus Du Plessis again. I've done it a million times. So like, who the hell am I to say? He'll probably go in there.
Yeah, I know. And I will say too, even though this is my reaction to him calling out, I will say mad props and respect to Dricus for not pulling, a Sean O'Malley or something who wanted to fight somebody else before Merab, right? Like he's like, hey, I'm gonna fight. I want to fight Khamzat now. So mad respect. I just don't think it's very smart, but I will be intrigued to see that fight. So
MMA Junkie AI.